Hi, I'm Glenn Shaheen, and I'm going to be reading some poems from my collection Predatory, which is forthcoming this fall, 2011, from the University of Pittsburgh Press. The poems in this collection deal with the panic and fear that we're told that we need to experience on a day-to-day basis. We're told this by politicians, the media, basically everybody around us. And a lot of that panic is translated into a fear of catastrophe, both large-scale, like disasters, man-made or natural, and personal catastrophes, small things like heartbreak, etc. So the first poem I'm going to read is the title poem, Predatory. Predatory. I know how to sleep next to a woman without touching her, all the bells ringing, the AC brushing every hair on my body. What moves us, anyway? Before a car wreck, everything seems to slow down. If you fall off a ladder, you feel like you should hit the ground 5 times before you actually do. Getting a tattoo hurts just as much as you'd think. Come on, let's all reminisce about September 11th again, where we were, what we were doing, what kind of clothes we had on. Me, I was sleeping in. I was heartbroken. I was living in a studio apartment with 1 cat and a lot of cockroaches. These are the kind of riveting details I can give you. The countdown has begun. The gears have been shoved into motion. Outside, the flag is raised to the tallest pole, but it is in the lowest valley in town. Take what you can get. The bell struck silent, the bell struck ringing. I know a lot of ways to sleep next to a woman, some without touching her, some predatory, some unorthodox. I've had a lot of secrets breathed over my ears. There's a heart in every home, a scent in every jungle. It's weird talking to nobody. I don't really know where to look. I guess I'll pretend the camera's a person. And that's where I'll look. This next one, I live in Houston, and we're apparently one of the biggest street racing cities in the country. And I've never seen any of the street racers, but I live pretty close to the freeway, and late at night I can hear them racing down the freeway. I presume it's very exciting. The title of this poem is Battery and Kinetic. There are street racers in the distance, their angry hum drifting from downtown. Get me out of here. I know leave will cure my trembling. I eat and eat. Get me out of here. I don't know how to store anything up anymore. Every sound I hear through the walls I accept as threat. Get me out. The more complex the mind, the greater the need for simplicity of play. I can't see anything but facade. Under that, well, you can see where I'm going, murder, etc., etc. The one thing we all have in common is our inability to live without convenience. I expect to hear a crash when the street racers pass. No, you're right. I mean want. Get me? We've been told that if we willed it, our desires would simply manifest themselves bloodlessly. The cushion of wealth is 1 pin away from deflation. If death can manifest itself in one of those classic skeletal hooded numbers, I think that's how I'd like it all to end, in weary conversation. This poem is called I Am a Wall in a House, and I Have a Duty to Remain Erect. A lot of my poems have really long titles, but that's the longest title that I picked for the ones I'm going to read on this video. I am a wall in a house, and I have a duty to remain erect. I feel as though I am a wall in a house. I have a duty as that wall. Support. Lately, I've been thinking of the distance between us. Sometimes it is a mile, and sometimes we are wrapped in each other. Time can be a distance too. The rooms in my apartment are becoming smaller. I know the paces and the damage that's accrued. The walls are too familiar. Outside, people are getting furious in a political way. I thought we were on the same side. I thought our foodstuffs would remain affordable to the general public. I thought the sound bites would eventually end, but instead they're amplified. I feel as though one strong breath could topple me. I worry about wrong turns. I worry about these delicate muscles that move within us to keep us alive. Another emotional collapse. If I am the wall of a house, then I have a duty to remain erect. There are a lot of museums in my city. I assure people it is cosmopolitan, but this city has a breath and it is poisonous to me. I feel compromised. You are so many streets away from me, but I am erect. Hundreds of people live in my apartment complex alone. It's the minutia that takes us apart. Physically, you miss one beat and you're dead. You take a wrong turn in the wrong 5 seconds and it's over. There are wallpaper patterns of doves and hands releasing the doves. There are wallpaper patterns of the miracle of highway overpasses. The brain shuts off during extreme moments of pain or confusion. Petit mort. I was never the wall. My friend said there was a pattern of doves on my wall, but he knew that was not true. There were no doves. There was no voice. There was an opportunity. There was an endless road. Well, those are 3 depressing poems in a row, and this one is also depressing, but maybe funny in a way. I hope so. It's called Introducing Love into the Fragile Texas Ecosystem. I was told it was impossible to try to be erotic these days. People just keep thinking about suffering, the real kind, and the kind written into shows about men with guns and impeccable aim. Who can get off in that kind of mood anyway? Hey, I didn't start this show trial. Just the other day here, a middle school student was expelled for licking his girlfriend's face in science class. Now he's a junior hero. None of the other kids are even brave enough to brush against each other gently on the bus. They speak of him in hushed tones, like John Henry, Roswell, any great American myth. And us adults, something cracked the ground. We've been sucked into the latest story in the great saga of fire. There are hundreds of drugs designed to cater to all our erectile needs, but heat, sapped. Baby, I'd like to tell you how I would cup your breast, your naked breast, cup it in my hand and let the nipples slide between my fingers. This is what I'd like to tell you, with the greatest confidence and ease. I'd like to say we could coil into each other, like a Pfizer truck T-boning a gasoline truck in rush hour traffic. The names of the dead aren't what people would remember about that, you know. Because I'm doing this video in my apartment, I thought it would be appropriate to read a poem that just lists my neuroses, and also lists some things that I own, some of which are behind me. Maybe I tried to hide them, but I'm starting to slouch, so maybe you're starting to see some of the ridiculous collectibles that I have. But this poem is called Unlimited. My finger feels broken. I'm sure I have cancer. I don't know when the world started to disintegrate. I don't know the logistics of an A-10 tank-killing run. I'm pretty sure I can't cook a souffle. It would collapse. It would turn my guests away for good. This is not the path filled with black cats. This is not the place the kidnappers said to meet them with the unmarked bills. Isn't there somebody whose job it is to call and assure me that everything will work out fine? The doctor was repulsed. He was also incompetent. He said I did not have cancer. The internet begs to differ, my friend. My personal clutter keeps accruing. It's not interest. It's not interesting. I'm discarding pieces of paper that I once thought would save me when the time came. It turns out the time never came. It also turns out we're doomed. You know that old song and dance, the one with all the double basses. They play the same note for a long time and it seems interminable. The audience gasps for air when there is suddenly the dominant. I have been considering cosmetic surgery. I've been considering medication for clinical ADD. I just don't have the time for the test. It's 2 black dots on a computer screen. This is what we've won all our wars for. Pharmaceutical satisfaction. I have scaredy cat pills for the plane. I have an almost full bottle of prescription cough syrup. I have multivitamins. I can't explain to you the details that make me me. I have a lot of DVDs. I have some video games, but my game console is now out of date. I have collectibles, mainly related to Star Trek. I have 7 long boxes of comic books. I have a real tendency to ramble. I have your daughter. If you wish to see her alive again, you will leave $100,000 in unmarked bills in the trash can on the corner of... Let me get back to you. She's crying. Okay, you can have her back. It turns out I got cold feet. It turns out the lottery ticket was not a winning number. It turns out our children will never forgive us for our transgressions. It turns out time is not on our side. It turns out the history books will not vindicate us. It turns out there is a lot more we could have done. There still is. I am not begging you for anything. I have chips. I have clinical ADD. I have video games and a working air conditioner. We have won the important wars. I am not a member of the voting public. I am an alien. I am inserted digitally. I don't know when I'm done. I wasn't the one who told you those things on the phone. I want you to come and speak to me now. I want your hand on my face. I want you to tell me there is love in the air and it is not suffocating us. I want you to tell me our air is unlimited, our time here never ending. This last one is called On Our Destroyed Cities, and it's a bit shorter than that one in particular. On our destroyed cities. There wasn't ever a real secret buried under all that rubble. We paid them to spread that rumor. When they brought those innocent people to the gas chamber, we changed the channel. In some far-off cultures, the losers are the winners. The major interstate junctions are works of art. Sometimes when we look up, we think we see our God. Other times, it's someone else's God. Tube tops are back in fashion. The new mayoral candidate plays a 20-minute guitar solo on local access. We never stop asking the young girls when they will be married. And when the next extinction level event happens, we have the best cave murals. Our descendants will know there was never a scenario we didn't consider in madness. Well, thank you for watching this video of me reading some poems in my apartment, and I hope you enjoyed them. I'll see you later.